Everyone, Tim here, and welcome to a brand new episode of Tim's Oregon Explorations. So today I decided to travel to Fort Rock to do a revisit of the Historical Homestead Museum. The last time I was here was back in August of 2020, and I'll be sure to put a link to that video down below in the description so you can check it out. I decided to come back because there was a few things here that I missed, and I'll do a more in-depth video than I did the last time I was here. So I thought it'd be nice to, come out here and do a revisit. After this, I will be going to the Fort Rock Cemetery and Fort Rock itself, which is actually just right close by. So please follow me. So this is the Stratton house. Okay. Fred Stratton, his wife Hannah, and their two sons, Frank, 7 years, and Louis, 2 years, moved to Fort Rock from Michigan in 1912. Fred was an excellent carpenter and single-handedly built this house. Soon after the house was completed, he drilled a well 196 feet deep. He supplied water for several surrounding families at a cost of 3 cents a barrel. In 1915, the Stratton family moved to the town of Fort Rock, and the homestead was sold. Years later, the house was moved to town where it served as a post office, store, and later a storehouse. The house was donated to the museum, and on the 4th of July 2000, it was moved across the street to where it is now stands. A well driller, probably built in Chicago sometime from 1855 to 1875, stands outside, and a hay sled is nearby. These were used in the valley until the 1920s. Frank Stratton and his wife Vivian Hockman were founders of Fort Rock Valley Historical Society and opened this museum in 1988. Frank died in 1994, Vivian in 2009 at the age of 104. Yeah, so this is a Stratton house. Love those old oil lamps. Yeah, so if you remember, I was here in August of 2020. I'm going to be doing a more in-depth video this time. Spend a little bit more time in the buildings. Yep, I like those old wood stoves. Yeah, and you got to realize a lot of these buildings did not have any electricity. Okay, next we'll be going to the Artifacts building. Yes, it is. It's a little windy today, so I apologize for that. Yeah, I love this room. Seeing all this is all obsidian arrowheads. Isn't that neat? Let's go over here. Let's see. It's down here. See, oldest Lake County cultural sites date to 14,500 years, about 500 generations ago. People lived around the edges of Fort Rock Lake and Summer Lake. Some villages were home to thousands of people over thousands of years. This is a representative collection of groundstone, probably women's tools for grinding flour to bake bread. Lake County obsidian was traded as far as New York and Mexico. This cabin, dated from the early 1900s near Bend, was donated to the museum in 1997, when the new parkway was constructed. Yeah, so this is from the 1900s, the old cabin. So next we'll be going to Dr. Tom's office. Dr. Tom treated many Indian families. The carving on the sign tells them, "Welcome, friends." Love that old pendant of Klamath Falls. Your patient, Rose Stoutenberg, housewife, Fort Rock, Oregon. Date of birth, January 22nd, 1889. History, September 12th, 1910. Gave birth on the 11th, no complications. Suggested rest. Another one of those old wood stoves. Bed. Old gurney. Okay. Dr. Tom came to Silver Lake in 1905 after finishing medical training in Minnesota. At first, he rented a room at the Chrisman Hotel and treated patients in the lobby. A year later, he built a home in this office, which was used until he moved to Bend in 1924. In 1985, the office was abandoned as a useful building and was moved to the museum in 1987. During his practice in the area, Dr. Tom delivered over 100 babies and saved countless lives during the 1917 flu epidemic. That was a big thing back then. It was like 1917 and 1918. Who? Like this old photo. Let's see, where's Tom? The white apron. believe that's him right there in the white apron. Next is the Mickenmeyer cabin. Yeah, it's got to. God knows it's got to adjust to the camera's got to adjust to the light. Red Book Magazine, August of 1925. April of 1925. Now it's just a single one-room cabin. Bed over here. This would be like the kitchen and dining room. It's just a one-room cabin. That's all it is. The Mickenmeyer and Penrose families came from the Willamette Valley in 1909. George Mickenmeyer built this log cabin in 1910 before marrying Hazel Penrose in 1914. Dr. Tom delivered their two children, Beatrice and George. The children played in the area around Cow Cave, now Fort Rock Cave. In later years, Hazel met anthropologist Dr. Luther S. Cressman of the University of Oregon. And due in part to her interest in the cave, Dr. Cressman initiated an excavation of the cave, resulting in the discovery of the Fort Rock sandals. That's used for pancakes, I think. And just think, now we have, the new washers and dryers. So they washed their clothes back then. Next is the Blacksmith shop. That's a tongue twister. Let's see. Bridle bits found on the desert by Shorty Gustafson after the Homestead era ended and most people left Fort Rock Valley. Snaffles, spades, ring bits, baccaries, military bar bits are all forms of horse gear contrivance for controlling horses. Dating back into history about 4000 BC when the Scythians used horses to draw their chariots. There's old bits right there. That's cool. That's an old forge right there. That's some harnesses. I like seeing this old horse gear. Wheels. There's a couple more forges over there. No, let's go over here so I can read it better. Let's see. The Blacksmith shop is a replica built in 2006. It displays many sharp artifacts and tools donated to the museum. The siding was donated from the Peril Homestead built in the early 1900s. In the early years, the blacksmith was kept busy shoeing horses, repairing harnesses, and making and repairing all kinds of ironwork, including farm equipment, horseshoes, hinges, tools, etc. Of necessity, they became the repairman for cars and trucks that started appearing in the valley. Be sure to view the old horse-drawn farm equipment behind this building: planter, hay rake, 3 Fresnos, reaper, and swather. Near the school are field rollers and another swather, all horse-drawn. And these are, I believe, are behind it. Yeah, they're back here. Let's go check them out. So next is St. Bridget's Catholic Church, formerly known as the St. Rose of Lima Catholic Church. So I'll go to the church next. It is very windy out there. I was going to say, it is very windy out there today. So it's nice when I get to come into these buildings, of course. Ooh. Wow, those are some pretty quilts. Let's see, Texas Star. This quilt was made by my great-grandmother, Ida Simmons, Oliver Peterson, in the 1880s. She used old flour sacks and whatever else she had to make it. It was all cut out by hand and pieced by hand. It was given to me by my grandmother, Viola Oliver, to finish. I hand quilted it. That's pretty. Nope. Sorry about that. Those are pretty quilts, aren't they? Yeah, these are all these quilts are handmade. Those pretty. Ooh, that's a little loose. You know, all religious memorabilia was either used in a mass service in St. Rose of Lima, at Fleetwood, or other chapels in northern Lake County. I love this wood stove. Isn't that pretty? Okay, St. Rose's Church was built in 1918 on land donated by Alex Bellatable, the only building constructed especially for worship. The church was erected as a result of a conflict between the Protestants and the Catholics. The church was also known as St. Bridget's Catholic Church. It was in the town of Fleetwood, about 11 miles east of Fort Rock, and was donated in 1918. Donated in 1988, I'm sorry. It forms the centerpiece of the Homestead village. This church is still used for weddings and memorials. So yeah, you can actually rent it for a wedding. Yep, see? With a capacity of 40 persons, Fort Rock Homestead Village Museum's unique church, St. Rose of Lima Catholic Church, locally known as St. Bridget's, is the perfect venue for a small pioneer-style wedding. $250 allows an inexpensive way to special nuptials in Fort Rock. The church is offered during normal operating months, Memorial Day through Labor Day. The Fort Rock Grange may be available to rent for a reception location. Find out more by contacting the Fort Rock Historical Society, volunteer Jana Kittredge, at 541-576-2263 or frmuseums@centurylink.net. So yeah, you can actually use this church for a wedding. Isn't that cool? Let's see. Next is the Bodegheimer cabin. Okay, let's do a little walk. I like these old calendars. January 1942. Okay. Simon Bodegheimer came to Fort Rock around 1912, leaving his wife and 2 children in the Willamette Valley. A carpenter by trade, his home was only one of few 2-story houses in the area. His skill is noted in the windowsills, the built-in shelves in the corner of the parlor, and a stairwell closet. Simon returned to the valley after the death of his daughter. Shortly after leaving the Fort Rock Valley, he died from injuries from a fall off of a roof. Ugh. So it says a stairwell, yeah. That's the stairwell closet right there. So I'm guessing this is must be baby's room or something, I guess. Because they have this small bed like right here. Yeah, so those corner shelves, he built those. He did that. He did the window sills. Yeah, let's go upstairs. Yeah, I apologize if if it's a little, yeah, it's a little dark up here. It's not really sunny today. It's like, I don't know, like overcast. So, yeah, it's a little dark up here. So it's it's trying to adjust. This is a little room up here. It's 2-story. Okay, let's head back down. Okay, where to next? Oh, the homestead. Yeah, there's a homestead garden, but there's not much to it right now. Of course, it's beginning of spring. This is it right there. But as you can see, there's really nothing there. I believe those are. I think that's squash, I think. See, this garden is representative of what a homesteader would have grown. Plants have included potatoes, onions, cabbage, rhubarb, chives, garlic, beets, parsnips, and carrots. It is common knowledge in this area you do not plant your garden until the snow is off Hager Mountain, the steep side of volcanic peak visible far to the south. This garden has been planted with wildflowers in memory of homesteader Roberta Buick Miles. There's not much to it right now. Not sure what those are. Oh, it might be. I think that's. I believe that's rhubarb. Next is the Webster cabin. Yeah, this is the Webster cabin. I love these old photos. Yeah, this is Glenn and Britt Webster. This may have been their wedding photograph. I love these old photos. Let's see, a picture that was in the Webster home. People not identified. This picture was probably taken in Illinois. I don't care. I love those old photos. Looks cool. There's another one of those old calendars. July 1941. All these harness and the bridle. All these tools here. Yeah, this is a buck saw on loan from the Fort Rock Valley Historical Society Homestead Village Museum in Fort Rock. This light, portable wood frame saw was designed for cross-cutting or cutting across the grain of the wood. Buck saws are used for land clearing and cutting lumber. Sorry. Okay. Let's see. In 1912, Britt and Glenn Webster and their 6-year-old son moved to the Fort Rock Valley. The Websters became successful livestock operators breeding Hereford Shorthorn cattle. Carl went to grade school in Fort Rock and then boarded in Portland for high school. Carl was a skilled trapper sending coyote hides to New York. He kept a penciled account of his trap lines on the bedroom door casings. Which was these right here. So those are his penciled account of his trap lines on the bedroom door casings. The Websters lived the rest of their lives in Fort Rock. Mrs. Webster died in 1970 and Britt in 1972. Carl died in 1985, and in his will he donated this cabin to the museum. That's an old magazine. Not sure of the date though. An old alarm clock, oil lamp, an old thermometer. Next is the barn. This is a jawbone, I think, of a cow, maybe? I'm not sure what that is. If you know, please let me know down below in the comments. Got this thing here, whatever it is. First you got a wagon. Let's see. The barn. The newest building was constructed on site in 2019 and 2020 to house the authentic chuck wagon from the Homestead area. Oh, it's a chuck wagon. Okay. Funds to build the barn were donated by Richard Dick Morehouse, whose family homestead in the area, and funds earned by the Fort Rock Valley Historical Society by way of donations, admissions, and sales. This barn will keep the wagon and other items protected from the harsh climate. So next, we're going to do this a little different. We're going to go visit the Fort Rock General Store. I'll do that house next. Very windy today, isn't it? Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is where your the mail would go. Yeah, yeah. The the upstairs is off limits. So. What's wrong? Wow. From January of 1927, the Farm Journal. It's a piano. Yeah, this is the Fort Rock General Store. Yeah, let the camera adjust. It's got to adjust to the light, doesn't it? January 1942. I love those old small calendars. Those are neat, aren't they? An old scale. Standard Computing Scale Company, Detroit, Michigan. It's an old scale. It's an old coffee grinder. Another scale. Sure what that is. Cash register, maybe? Let's see, this building was erected about 1910 to 1915 in downtown Fort Rock. Fort Rock store was used as a general mercantile store and gas station on Main Street in Fort Rock. Back then, this area was supported 1,200 people and was a busy community. The store was moved 4 miles out of town in the late 60s after surviving the fires that swept the town of Fort Rock over the years. It is the only original downtown building of the Homestead area still standing. Since the Fort Rock Hotel, livery stable, creamery, newspaper, and blacksmith shop have all been lost. Yeah, so this has been here for, oh gosh, like well over 110 years. About 122. Now, it is the only original downtown building of the Homestead area still standing. Pretty neat, huh? I love those old phones. Another one of those really neat wood stoves. Okay, so next is the Bellatable house. That's what we're going to go to next. Let's go this way. That is what you use to wash the clothes. And then you would use that to hang your clothes. Let's see. This washing machine was built by Elder G.W. Reynolds in the early 1900s for his wife, Rosie. She took in washing for many single cowboys and local bachelors who were in the Silver Lake area at the time. She did this for many years. Mr. Reynolds was pastor of the Missionary Church in Silver Lake, where they made their home from 1905 on for many decades. Mrs. Reynolds passed away in Silver Lake in 1944 at the age of 79. Oh, Mr. Reynolds. Miss Reynolds was still using this machine until electricity came to Silver Lake in the 1950s. She passed away in 1977 at the age of 96. Of 96, I'm sorry. Donated to the Fort Rock Museum by their grandchildren in 1994. It washed white shirts, wool, underwear, everything that was dirty, of course, and Grandma Reynolds did a super job. I will remember when she was still doing that, and of course she ironed everything, also having only the old stove irons to use, and she ironed at night by light from a gas lamp, sometimes only a kerosene lamp. They are wonderful memories that I will always cherish. Mary Ann Bessie. Yeah, so Mrs. Reynolds used this. Pretty neat, huh? Let's go inside. Yeah, this is the Bellatable house. See, Mr. and Mrs. Alex Bellatable in front of their home, which was located, let's say, 10.5 miles east 1/4 mile north of Fort Rock. Bellatables came from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania in 1911. We do not know when they built the house, but they left this area in 1922. The house faced south and had a screen porch. Yeah, there they are. It's Mr. and Mrs. Alex Bellatable. Yeah, the house faced south and had a screen porch. Neat, huh? Yeah, it's a little early for that, ain't it? What's it say? Early 1900s Christmas decorations. In the early 1900s, the widely spaced branches were preferred because the trees were lighted by real candles, not by strings of electrical light. Usually the tree was put up the night before, and then the family gathered around. An adult would carefully light the candles for a very brief time, as there was a great risk of fire. To modern eyes, some early Christmas trees from that era looks pretty skimpy and sort of like a Charlie Brown holiday tree. Today, modern Christmas trees are grown on tree farms and pruned early on to be full. In the 1920s and 1930s, most glass Christmas ornaments were imported from Germany and Poland. These were hand-blown and hand-painted. In the 1920s, German Max Eckhart and his brother immigrated to America and opened sales and import offices in New York. In the late 1930s, the Eckhart brothers began to worry about how the growing threat of war with Germany might impact their ornament business. They, along with representatives from Woolworths, large 5 and dime store owners, decided to approach Corning Glass of New York to develop manufactured glass ornaments. Coming at the time was the prime maker of light bulbs, and it was this technology that were able to produce clear glass bulbs for decorating by the Eckhart Group and sale in Woolworth stores. They were able, at their height, to produce 300,000 a day as compared to 600 a day from Germany, and eventually to become the world's largest producer of glass Christmas ornaments. However, when the war with Germany began, the silver used as ornament decorations became unavailable, and the bulbs remained clear with very little decoration. Even the previously metal caps became paper and were hung with string or yarn. Today, the clear ornaments of the war years are highly prized. Most of these have had their caps replaced with metal caps, but rarely one with a paper cap is found. See, 1890, 1910, Art Nouveau, very ornate. 1920s, 1930s, Art Deco. Yeah, look at those old ornaments. That's pretty interesting information, huh? About how ornaments were designed back then. And there is an upstairs. Well, more better light in here than there was in the last one, huh? It's a little dark in that last one, wasn't it? And I believe it was the Webster house. Or the Webster cabin. Yeah, it's more light in this one. Yeah, like I was mentioning to that guy that I walked past when I walked into the general store, he agreed with me. It's a little windy out there. Yeah, I believe this is the children's room. I have the parents' room. It's an old crib. Yeah, I like this. Everyone is in slumberland, but you and me. Isn't that cute? Yeah, these are very skinny stairs. They're not. See, they're not very wide, so I have to be careful. When I slip before I head out. So next is the Sunset School. There is the school. Let's see if the wind is insane. Yeah, homesteading, Fort Rock, the real dirt. Let's see. The year of 1862 was a great revolution in American history. In this year, Abraham Lincoln passed the Homestead Act. This act became available large amounts of public land for private citizens to eventually own for a sum of only $18. 1849 was the California Gold Rush. 1864 to 18... I can't read that last part. Civil War. Let's see. To claim a 160-acre parcel of land, you had to be at least 21 years of age, the head of a household, and a hard worker. In order to own your own land, at the end of 5 years, you would have to fulfill all the government's requirements and make your parcel of land a successful working operation. Let's see. 1862, Homestead Act passed. 1908, families started migrating to Fort Rock. Let's see, 1909 to 1912, Fort Rock homesteading was at its peak. 1912, the law on homesteading changed. 1918, the year the Fort Rock Homestead Act was shut down. Let's see. One problem with homesteading was that some people gave up everything they had to go to a place that they had never seen before, and many times when they got there, it wasn't quite what they expected. This was exactly the case in Fort Rock. Back in the early 1900s, the West was still a mystery to some people, and when news came of Fort Rock being great farmland with wide pastures, no one knew any better than to sell everything they had to move out to this so-called dreamland. Yeah, so this is Sunset School. Yeah, these old desks. Fleetwood school teacher, 1927. Mabel Day, Damewood Good. All these books. Got his down here, some over there. And this piano. Let's see. Sunset School was a small building made from two homestead buildings placed end to end. It was located 6 miles east and a half a mile south of Fort Rock. In 1929, the main part of the school stood vacant due to the much declining population and was relocated to accommodate the few students remaining in Cougar Valley. In 1936, Cougar Valley School District consolidated with the Fort Rock District. In 1953, the schoolhouse was moved to Fort Rock, where it served as a Sunday school. It was moved to the museum when a new church was built for the community. Blue roof building, 1 block distance. Let's see. Okay, so that's the new church. That's the new church right there. The one with the blue roof. That is the church. Okay, so other homestead buildings in town. The Grange Hall, 1 block east, was assembled from 3 homesteader schools, Loma Vista, Cougar Valley, and Connolly schoolhouses. Another homesteader school serves as a private garage in town. These bless the museum's collection of homestead buildings are all that remained from the early 1900 homestead years in Fort Rock Valley. Yeah, and I think if I read this correctly, I think the general store might be the oldest one, because it's one of the original buildings from downtown. Pretty neat, huh? And back out in the wind. Thing we'll take a look at here is this windmill. And I gotta say, that thing's being put to work, that's for sure, especially today.